What's up, you team of bad savages? My name is Tom, and today I'm gonna react to Desert Storm, the Air War Day 1. Let's jump in.
7 B-52s take off from Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana. In 35 hours' time, when they return, a war will have started, and they will have set a new record for the longest bombing raid in history. A year prior, in 1990, high levels of oil production in the state of Kuwait and other Arab nations are depressing global oil prices. Because of its economic dependency on oil revenue, neighbouring Iraq is struggling to pay $14 billion debts on loans used to finance its war with Iran in the 1980s. It has come to the point where Iraq is now even struggling to pay for basic government spending. Dating from the fall of the Ottoman Empire after World War I, Iraq has maintained sovereign claims over Kuwait. An accusation that Kuwait is slant drilling Iraqi oil fields gives Iraqi President Saddam Hussein an excuse to invade and annex the small nation on the 2nd of August 1990. Following international condemnation and sanctions, British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher and US President George H.W. Bush begin to deploy forces to Saudi Arabia, urging other countries to do the same. A UN resolution passes, giving Iraq a deadline of the 15th of January.
I'm just curious, why did USA protect Kuwait? Like, why do they protect them? What is their interest? Like, do they have some special agreement about the oil or yeah, I'm really curious. If you know, guys, leave it in the comment section.
1991 to completely withdraw from Kuwait. The build-up of coalition forces in Saudi Arabia is called Operation Desert Shield. Over a period of 6 months, 35 nations send a total of approximately 1 million military personnel to Saudi Arabia, the largest military alliance since World War II. 2,230 coalition aircraft are sent to bases in Saudi Arabia, and 6 carrier battle groups are deployed in the region. The coalition war plan is first to wage an air war to achieve dominance of the skies above Iraq, and to strike targets to degrade the Iraqi military for when the ground invasion is launched some weeks later. The first day of the air assault will be the most risky. Iraq has a very dangerous arsenal of air defense systems.
Just wanna say a couple of words about the big aircraft carriers, guys. Look, this is the game changer, man. Look, I mean, you don't have to have any airfields. Basically, you just if there's water nearby, you just swim to the closest spot and launch your planes from there. Man, how incredible is this? This is such a cheat. I mean, there's no way around it, you know, like you need to have a strong navy then, you know, to destroy it. But most of these countries don't have a strong navy, so they just get smashed, you know, by air superiority.
154 SAM sites with 16,000 missiles defend Iraq, alongside a further 972 anti-aircraft artillery guns, 2,404 fixed AA guns, and 6,100 mobile AA guns. Baghdad is likely the most heavily defended city in the world. 478 early warning radars watch the skies for coalition aircraft, with command and control centres ready to scramble the Iraqi Air Force's 550 combat aircraft to respond. The priority for day 1 of the air campaign will be to degrade the enemy's air defence systems. The deadline passes, and a day later the Great Air Assault on Iraq is put into motion. H hour, the start of the air war, is scheduled for 2:38 AM on the 17th of January. 2 hours before H hour, the B-52s are nearing the end of their long journey from Louisiana, and an enormous armada of aircraft is taking off all over Saudi Arabia and from carriers in the Red Sea and the Arabian Gulf. 2 flights of helicopters, each with a single Pave-Low special operations helicopter and 4 Apache attack helicopters, cross the border at low level. Their call sign is Task Force Normandy. Their job is to sneak up on and shoot up 2 key enemy radar positions. This will cut a vital gap in the radar coverage through which the coalition strike aircraft can stream into Iraq to hit their targets. E2 and E3 airborne warning and control aircraft, referred to as AWACS, are orbiting near the border, directing operations and keeping an eye on Iraqi airspace. Air-to-air refueling tankers are now refueling the aircraft of the enormous First Striking Force.
Oh my gosh, I mean, not only they have like floating air carriers, but also they have flying radars. How crazy is that, man? I mean, like if they would develop human relationship and human, well-being in the world as they develop the, the army, maybe we would live in different world. But in the same time, if you don't develop army, somebody else will come and they're gonna destroy you. So this is mandatory, develop army
over Saudi Arabia. For the last few months, large formations of coalition aircraft have massed every night near the border, so as not to cause a specific alarm in the enemy command structure when the air war does start. What Iraqi radars can't see tonight is the further formations of aircraft massing further away from the border at low level. F-117 stealth aircraft have also crossed the border unescorted and head for Baghdad. It's unclear whether their stealth technology will be potent enough to cloak them from the massive fire control radars around the heavily defended city. They are to hit key communications infrastructure in the city, hindering central military commanders' ability to coordinate their air defense sites around the country. One of the main targets is the International Communications Center in central Baghdad, through which 50% of all military comms traffic is routed. These vital strikes are needed to protect the main assault aircraft when they attack in the coming hours. In the end, the stealth bombers circle Baghdad undetected, waiting for H-hour. A few minutes before H-hour, the US Air Force fires the first shots of the war, launching 35 AGM-86 cruise missiles from the Barksdale B-52s at communication sites and power plants. Simultaneously, coalition naval battle groups begin launching Tomahawk cruise missiles at mainly communications targets in Baghdad. Two of the ships launching Tomahawks, the USS Missouri and Wisconsin, are battleships that first saw service in World War II, and will serve their country once more. The Tomahawks will navigate to their targets using an onboard system that identifies and follows known landmarks and terrain contours on the route to the target. Because much of the direct route to Baghdad from the Persian Gulf is flat desert, the cruise missiles must follow a longer easterly route over more hilly, trackable terrain near the Iranian border. The missiles fly at subsonic speed, so while these are the first shots to be fired, the US Army would have the honour of the first shots to explode. The two groups of Apaches arrive near two radar sites 30 seconds early, and come to hover in lines of 4 abreast. As they wait for precisely 2:38 AM, they watch the compounds through their infrared cameras. At first, it appears that the Iraqis are oblivious to their presence, but with 10 seconds to go, the compound's lights go out, and figures are observed running around outside. At 2:38 AM, H-hour, Desert Storm begins. The Apaches unleash a furious rain of destruction on the radar installations. Hellfire missiles are first aimed at power generators. Further Hellfires and 70mm rockets are fired on radar dishes, command vehicles, and communications antennas as the attack helicopters move in closer. They expend everything they have on the site. Such is the importance to knock out the radar, the Apache crews then move in closer still and engage whatever is left standing with 30mm cannon. An enormous explosion ends the attack when an ammunition dump is hit.
Imagine being one of the guys on the station. He had a perfect day, he wake up, kissed his wife, drink a coffee, right, I'm gonna go to work. And then he comes to work, and in the evening, just before ending of the shift, this starts. Man, so unlucky it would be, man.
By cannon fire. During the 4 minutes of destruction, 27 Hellfires, 100 rockets, and 4,000 cannon rounds have been unleashed on the sites. The crews report in total destruction of the 2 sites for no loss. They turn back to the border. The first aircraft of the first strike wave screams overhead. The air war is underway. 3 EF-111 radar jamming aircraft rush towards Baghdad to provide jamming support for the F-117s in case they are detected. With coalition aircraft streaming into Iraq, it's crucial that the stealth bombers knock out comms infrastructure. To maintain stealth, the F-117s are unable to use their radios to report on progress. Commanders at the Coalition Tactical Air Control Center, the TAC, won't know if the crucial task has been successfully completed until the aircraft are near the Saudi border on their return journey. The strike aircraft will be deep inside Iraq by then. But this is the first major war to take place during the new age of communications and international live television. Believing the imminent start of the new conflict after the UN deadline passing, live news channels have sent reporters into Baghdad. At the TAC, they spot that a reporter is live on CNN, reporting hearing aircraft over the city. The news streams almost definitely route through the International Communications Center, a primary target for the F-117s. CNN is put up on the large screens in the TAC. At 0300, the precise moment the first bomb should be falling on target, CNN lose the live feed from their reporter on the ground. A cheer erupts at the TAC. The first F-1...
Listen, I remember the video footage from this event, and that was terrifying. Everything was blowing up, man. I mean, like, people were just terrified. As more as I watch things about the war, you know, documentaries, as more as I'm grateful that I live in a peaceful place, at least, you know, there's no war over here, because it is so painful to lose, you know, like, this bomb lands into your house, you lose your family, man, it's very sad, you know, a lot of pain.
117 strikes stir the hornet's nest, and 2,000 anti-aircraft guns in Baghdad open fire into the night sky. Stealth can protect the aircraft from radar-guided missiles, but blindly fired anti-aircraft fire in such volume will be equally deadly if a lucky direct hit is scored. They drop 17 paveway guided bombs on 13 targets, radio towers, command bunkers, and a palace just outside the city, incorrectly believed to have been housing Saddam Hussein himself. Shortly after, the first of 116 Navy-launched Tomahawks begin to fall on Baghdad.
Man, this is crazy.
Party headquarters, a Scud ballistic missile factory, another presidential palace, and other targets of importance. A British journalist watches from his Baghdad hotel window as a Tomahawk screams past him at eye level down the street and hits the Ministry of Defence building at the end of it. Some Tomahawks carry special warheads which contain long strips of carbon filament. These missiles fly over power transformers and switching stations and release these strips into them, causing the electrical components to spark, short out, and burst into flames. 5 electrical facilities are hit. The B-52 launched cruise missiles fall on further communication sites and power generation facilities, including the Al Musayib Thanal power plant. After a grueling flight across the Atlantic,
I mean, props to the tactical team, because this was planned so well. I mean, they neutralized the enemies, like the most important things, straight away in one hit, basically.
Atlantic and Mediterranean to get here. The B-52s will now fly back to Louisiana without landing. The 14,000-mile mission takes 35 hours, requiring 57 tanker sorties, a demonstration of American global reach. With Iraqi command and control seriously degraded, the 668-strong first wave of strike aircraft with fighter escort begin hitting military targets across Iraq: SAM sites, Scud missile sites, command and control bunkers, and airfields. RAF Tornado and US Navy F-14 interceptor aircraft patrol the Iraqi border and orbit Iraqi Air Force bases, waiting for the enemy fighters to come out to fight.
I wonder how many planes did USA lost during this operation, guys. If you know, just drop it in the comment section. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications.
One formation, a strike package of F-15E Strike Eagles, escorted by F-15C fighters and an EF-111 radar jamming aircraft, hit Scud missile launch sites in the western desert, attempting to prevent Scud launches against nearby Israel. With the alarm now raised, the Iraqi Air Force is in the air defending their nation, setting up combat air patrols near key installations. With the strikes against the launchers underway, an F-15 detects a single Iraqi Mirage fighter nearby and destroys it with a Sparrow missile. Another Mirage moves in close behind the low-flying EF-111 and fires a missile. The 111 makes a violent turn and evades. At this point, an F-15 above spots the hostile aircraft and dives in to engage. Spotting the attacking Eagle, the Mirage itself makes a violent maneuver to evade the American fighter, but in doing so crashes into the ground. The unarmed EF-111 pilot is credited with a maneuvering kill. Another F-15C Eagle has just crossed the border into Iraq, and the pilot detects a distant unidentified contact on his radar. Rules of engagement require the pilot to ask one of the E-3 command and control aircraft for permission to fire. The contact begins to maneuver aggressively, and the E-3 grants permission to fire. The long-range Sparrow missile flies into the distance, and the pilot sees the fireball as it detonates. The enemy aircraft downed is a modern and dangerous MiG-29 Fulcrum, piloted by a veteran of the Iran-Iraq War with 3 kills on his record. A flight of F-4G Wild Weasel aircraft are some of the many aircraft on their way to Baghdad to attack radar sites and SAM sites.
Bro, there was just too many American planes. Iraq didn't have any chance from the start. And that was a miscalculation by Saddam, I guess. And thank God, because Saddam was a bad person, you know. He done a lot of bad things. So yeah, I mean, a lot of miscalculation can lead you to your defeat, you know.
Because of the volume of coalition assets in the area, the escorting F-15s are constantly investigating potentially hostile contacts that turn out to be friendly. After a few false alarms, Captain Steve Tate finally finds an enemy Mirage. He engages with a Sparrow missile, and the fireball confirms the kill. Multiple flights of aircraft are inbound to Baghdad to attack SAM and radar sites. Given the heavy air defences around the city, this could be a treacherous task. The US Navy aircraft make their first major play of the night. A-6 intruders to the west launch decoy glider drones towards the city, intended to trick the defending SAM sites into switching on their radars. It works, and many surface-to-air missiles are launched against them. The Iraqis believe they've scored multiple kills. What they don't see are the US Navy FA-18 Hornets armed with high-speed anti-radar missiles, HARMs, coming in behind. The HARMs lock onto the radar signals coming from the SAM sites on the ground as they engage the drones. A further 37 BQM-74 jet-powered drones approach from the south and orbit the city. Some are shot down by MiGs, but the rest are tracked and engaged by the SAM sites on the ground. The F-4s and FA-18s move in and launch 75 HARMs, destroying approximately 35 installations. The idea of offering bait drone aircraft to the air defences for the Wild Weasels to engage is that of Brigadier General Larry Pooh-Bah Henry. The engagement during Desert Storm becomes known as Pooh-Bah's Party. Another flight of 4 FA-18s are approaching the large airbase H-3 in western Iraq with an E-2 Hawkeye carrier-launched early warning aircraft above. A pair of MiG-29s move to engage the Hornets, but F-15s dive in and easily add 2 more kills.
I mean, like, how good is this airplane that is having radar on the top? Man, basically it's a support plane for the smaller planes, right? And if somebody comes closer, they will find out, and basically the big plane tells the small planes that guys, enemy is nearby us, but in the same time enemy doesn't see you. Man, this is such a cheating. I don't know, this is cheat code for sure.
To their impressive and growing tally. With 30 miles to go, the E-2 calls out 2 elderly MiG-21s aggressively attacking head-on. The Hornets are impressive multi-role aircraft. Lieutenant Commander Fox switches from ground attack to air-to-air mode with the flick of a switch. He locks onto one MiG, while his wingman locks onto the other. Fox fires a Sidewinder missile, and his wingman fires a Sparrow. Both hit, both pilots calmly switch their aircraft back to ground attack mode and almost without breaking step complete their bombing raid on the airfield, a powerful demonstration of the efficiency of multi-role aircraft in modern warfare. Further B-52s and F-111s drop conventional bombs on the elite Iraqi Army Corps, the Republican Guard, to soften them up and as a show of the military power that they're up against. It's claimed that fear of the B-52's conventional bombing capability caused mass Iraqi surrenders later on in the war. A B-52 is hit by a US missile in a friendly fire incident and crashes on the way home. The air assault is going nearly perfectly at this point, but the TAC planners know that statistically their luck must change. And it does. A squadron of FA-18s from the USS Saratoga, known as the Sunliners, are on their way to take part in Pooh Bar's party, when the leader detects a MiG-25 interceptor in front of them. He requests permission from the AWACS to engage, but the AWACS radar can't find the bandit, and so permission is denied. There are hundreds of coalition aircraft in the air, so rules of engagement are tight to reduce friendly fire. The MiG slips away, but later shoots down another Hornet in the squadron, killing Lieutenant Commander Michael Speicher. Dawn breaks in the desert, and further waves move in. The British Tornadoes have perhaps the most dangerous job of the first 24 hours. 12 aircraft scream over the desert at just 200.
Can anybody explain me why the British were involved in this? And who was else in the coalition? Man, this is mad. I mean, mad.
Feet towards Talil Air Base. The RAF's two-seater Tornado GR-1 is a specialist in runway busting. In the first day of a hypothetical hot war with the Soviet Union, Tornadoes would maraud over the border into Eastern Europe to neutralize enemy airfields. Today they carry their specialist weapon, the JP-233, a system that drops a combination of 30 runway cratering bomblets on the runway and 215 anti-personnel mines to hinder the repair process after. Anti-aircraft fire is much heavier than expected, as they line up on the two parallel runways at 180 feet. Pushing through the barrage, each aircraft releases its two JP-233 dispensers. The runways are shredded, and the anti-personnel mines are scattered across both runways and across the airfield, waiting to punish any repair workers who attempt to make the runways operational again. All aircraft make it out, but the crew report that the flak was heavier than forecast, and that they were in fact very lucky to make it back undamaged. A short time later, in the southeast of Iraq, another wing of 4 Tornadoes approach Al Ramallah Air Base at low level, each this time with 8 conventional 1,000-pound bombs. Just before the target, the aircraft will pull up into a climb and release their bombs, thereby throwing the bombs in an arc at the target. The downward momentum when they hit allows the bombs to penetrate into the ground before exploding, maximizing damage. Because the bombs are released at range, a target computer calculates the precise release moment during the climb.
Amazing.
Flight Lieutenants John Peters, the pilot, and John Nichol, the navigator, begin their attack run. Voracious flak opens up on them, and their aircraft is physically buffeted by the nearby explosions. They begin their climb. There's a problem. They have some kind of fault in their targeting computer, and it's not releasing their bombs. They continue to climb as they try to quickly rectify the problem. They're now almost twice the height they should be, and very vulnerable. Peters aborts and rolls the aircraft nearly upside down to bank and dive away. Descending and accelerating, they make for safety, but just after they level out, they're hit by a shoulder-launched SAM. Both men eject, but are captured by the Iraqis, suffering severe maltreatment. The airstrikes continue without rest throughout the day, against military and communications installations across the country. By day, A-10 Warthogs hit radar sites along the Iraqi border, similar to those that the Apaches had hit during the night. U-2 spy planes overfly Iraq to search for mobile Scud launchers. Special operations helicopters loiter near Baghdad to pick up downed aircrew.
They were doomed. They were doomed. I mean, all the force, the weight of the world crashed the Iraqis, man. They are so unfortunate. By the way, there's a movie about a double of the one of the Iraqis, one of the Saddam's sons. It's called The Double of the Devil, guys. I really recommend to watch it, and it's a good movie, really.
Coalition aircraft joined the strikes from bases in Turkey. 12 French Jaguars attacked the Scud missile facility at the Ahmed Al Jaber Air Base in Kuwait, and 4 take heavy damage from flak. The coalition takes some further losses throughout the day, mostly from anti-aircraft fire on low-level missions. In the evening, 4 elderly A-6 intruders are the latest to approach Airbase H3 with laser-guided bombs. They split into 2 pairs and attack from different directions at low level. One aircraft is hit by a SAM. The crew eject and are later captured. Another aircraft is hit, but makes it to Saudi Arabia. Over the first 24 hours of the air war, 2,775 sorties are conducted against strategic Iraqi targets. The Iraqi Air Force flies just 120 sorties, losing 8 aircraft. Some of the Iraqi jets flee to their recent enemy Iran. 19 coalition aircraft are lost or damaged in day 1.
Oh, only 19.
Saddam Hussein declares that the mother of all battles has begun. The air assault continues for 5 weeks, pounding the Iraqi military at a rate of 2,500 bombing sorties per day. Largely, the Iraqi Air Force, the 4th largest air force in the world, doesn't come out in full force to fight, and therefore the dangerous low-level attacks on airfields are reduced in favour of hitting mobile Scud launchers. 39 coalition aircraft are lost in combat during the air campaign, with another 36 lost in accidents.
Okay.
Gradually, attacks are shifted towards degrading the Iraqi military itself. The ground invasion of Iraq to liberate Kuwait will begin on the 24th of February.